just walked through the doors yesterday. I mean, even this year as a senior, she learned a new vault. I mean, that just doesn't really happen that much in college gymnastics anymore. Gymnasts normally come with their skill set, and they're just trying to maintain at that point. She learned a new vault that she competed in the first home meet, and it was beautiful. So I'm looking forward to seeing that again tonight. And it's just been exciting to watch her these past 3 years and now going into her 4th season.
And we need your help on this event too. When you see us present to the judges at the end of the roadway, clap along with the
Alrighty, so a little bit about our competition tonight. Ursinus had their home opener last weekend against Westchester. Sophomore Eleanor LaFountain was first on the floor, and senior Amanda Palladino was third for both bars and beam. Palladino also scored a 9.7 on bars and then had a 9.8 from one judge, making her the gymnast to score the single highest score of the meet for the bars. We're getting things started here shortly. Melissa Temkoff's ready to go on vault.
So Melissa starts us off with a relatively simple vault. It's a Yurchenko in a layout position. It was clean, didn't have a lot of explosiveness off of the vault table, but again, very clean, nice landing. Start value on that is only a 9.75. So there's only so much you can get with this kind of vault, but at least to start us off, it was nice and clean.
As we move through the motions, the start values will continue to increase. Marielle has a 9.9 coming up, and then towards the end you have Tyra with a 10 and Courtney with a 9.95. So hopefully those scores will continue to go up as the competition continues, and that's part of being the anchor, being the strong person for your team with a score that they can rely on through every phase of competition.
Well, and unfortunately, some of the illnesses and injuries have happened to gymnasts that are our strongest vaulters. So we have 2 very strong vaulters that are out right now. And I know Coach May is looking forward to getting them back in the lineup.
Absolutely.
So it's great these other gymnasts are able to step in, even though their vaults aren't as difficult, they're going out there and doing the best they can, and that's all we can ask of them.
Turning to the balance beam, we have Madison Nettles for North Carolina. Oh, excuse me, correction. Yale is on balance beam, and Alyssa Firth is on.
She does a round off 1.5 twist dismount.
And Marielle Arduino is up for the Tigers on vault.
And now we have a Yurchenko with a full twist in a tuck position. Beautiful form in the air, nice distance from the vaulting table, great landing. That was an awesome vault for Marielle. I mean, even in the air, toes are pointed. Great vault.
And she keeps her knees together.
Yep.
So our first vault for Towson scored a 9.35, and that was Melissa Temkoff. You can follow along with the scores on the bottom of the screen. They will be updated after every single rotation, so don't worry. A few of the scores might be missing, but after every single rotation, they will be continually updated so you can keep up with the final scores, and I'll make announcements here and there when we get our final scores up and rolling. The first score for University of North Carolina was a 9.65 on bars, and that was Madison Nettles. Now, we recognized when the teams walked out, they walk out in height order. Mm-hmm. And this little one, she was the first one out. I think she can go underneath of the low bar.
Oh, no problem.
But she has so much
clear
power.
It by a foot. Yes.
In the warm-ups, she was doing some of the highest release moves. And on floor exercise, I was really impressed with her, too. So good things come in small packages.
That's right. Powerful things come in small packages. Just ask Simone Biles. We have some slow judging going on, which is not uncommon when a meet first starts out. The judges kind of have to warm up a little bit themselves.
Gabby Urusus up for the Tigers on vault. Nice surprise to see her today.
And she watered down her vault. She normally does do a Yurchenko with a full twist. She just did a layout tonight. Again, she is coming off of an injury. We're lucky to get her back on beam in the first home meet. They're slowly starting to get her back into the other events because she is an all-around competitor. And it was a beautiful vault. I mean, there's not much you can take away from it, but again, it is only worth a 9.75. And that was a double layout dismount from the North Carolina gymnast. We're still waiting for Floor to come up with a first score. So we're going to head over to beam with Yale. Side aerial, slight balance check. Her dance series, very nice. There's a side aerial into a layout dismount. A little crooked, stepped off the mat, it'll be a deduction.
Kyla Gamble's preparing to mount for the Tigers, and like I said before, she was one of the ones last week that was a big contributor for Towson in her freshman year.
And she does a Yurchenko in the layout position with a half twist. This is a more difficult vault worth a 9.95 start value. It's a blind landing, so she can't see the floor. She has to really anticipate that landing to try and stick it. So it's a little more difficult. She takes a big hop. She had beautiful height off of the vaulting table. And back on bars from North Carolina, we've got a full in back out dismount with a stuck landing.
And they're very happy about that.
Yeah, they should be. That's a difficult dismount.
First score up for Yale is a 9.275 on the balance beam. And turning over to the floor, just seeing that replay really quick. A little bit of leg separation in the air, but definitely worth the stick at the end. She looks happy.
It looks like we've got the judging straightened out on floor. We're starting the second routine. She opens up with a 1.5 twist into a front layout. Front layout into a front half. A little trouble on the landing there.
Turning back to vault, Tyra McKellar is up.
Yep, so she does a Yurchenko entry with a full twist onto the vaulting table and then a tuck, back tuck off of it, almost like a Sukahara. So it is a 10-0 vault start value. It was a nice vault. The one she did in the first home meet of the year was a little more explosive. Caught us off guard, too. We weren't expecting that vault. No. It's a new vault for her. But, again, nice vault tonight. She scored really well. Now North Carolina on bars. She had an overshoot to handstand. She was a little short on the handstand. She's preparing for a dismount. Double layout, step on the landing.
We had a 9.55 for your sinus on the floor. And still waiting for some score updates.
It looks like Beam is having some judging issues now.
Well, I can imagine. There's 4 teams up.
There's a lot going
on. Every event's being taken right now. Courtney Baker's next to go for the Tigers, and she'll be anchoring.
Wow.
Very nice.
There we go. So in the first home meet of the season, Courtney did a Yurchenko in the laid out position. And I'm going, what is that? I know she can do a much more difficult vault. And there it is, Yurchenko full, beautiful, slight pike down, which will be a little bit of a deduction, but that was a great vault. That should really boost her confidence.
I'm still waiting for her to get put on the balance beam roster. That's the one that she says she's so nervous about, but she's great at it.
She's great. Yeah, she's a great all-around gymnast too. She really is.
Now, I would imagine when you're going up on balance beam, you're really concentrating, but you have the floor music of someone else in the background. Do you kind of pace yourself to the same beat of the floor music?
You know, I used to actually do that, and it would help me focus more when I had a beat to kind of go to. I imagine some gymnasts don't hear it at all, you know, and that's how they train, to just tune everything out. But I actually liked listening to music while I was doing beam. It made it easier for me.
It looked like she was doing that. It could have very well just been coincidence, but they matched up pretty well.
And there were certain songs I couldn't listen to when I was on beam. Now, I'm going to remind you, this was in the 80s. There was a song called Catch Me, I'm Falling. And I'm like, no, you cannot play that while I'm on beam. Don't do that. We have a front with a full twist into a front tuck.
So North Carolina and Towson both have their scores updated as of right now. North Carolina finished in with a 48.5. Towson coming in second with a 47.7. Urusus and Yale, the scores are still a bit behind. Waiting for Yale to go on the balance beam, the Bulldogs finished second at their first Ivy League dual meet against Penn last week. And they have a lot of freshmen coming up on their radar. JC Baldovino is one to watch, and she typically performs in the all-around, and she took home the all-around title in her second meet as a Bulldog.
She's a little low. She just didn't have enough explosiveness off of that flip-flop to go into her layout step-out, and the landing was real low. She couldn't save it. I almost feel like she was holding back. She was trying to make sure she just really stuck it, and it just didn't work out. Beam is also a difficult event to start a competition on, start or end. It's kind of never the position you want. And a front full dismount. So these floor judges are definitely still having some difficulty. The reason why it's taking so long is when you judge, you have to be, each judge has to be within a certain range of each other, and if they're outside of that range, they have to conference and figure out why they're so far apart in their scoring. And then they have to figure out how they can get closer together until they average out their two scores to get the final score. So a lot of times if, you know, the judges come from all over the area, they might not be used to seeing some of these teams, some of these routines. They haven't worked together, and so, you know, it just might take a few routines or even a whole rotation for them to kind of get in sync.
Next on the floor for the seconds, Kelsey Stewart.
This is Kelsey Stewart for your sinus on the floor.
Starts out with a full twist into a front tuck.
Now, floor is said to be their best event, and last week they came in with a 47.85 on floor. So we'll see if they can match that today. She certainly has lots of encouragement there on the sidelines.
She finishes with a 1.5 twist.
And a nice finish for Kelsey.
There's her last pass again. A replay on a beam dismount, round off with a 1.5 twist for Yale.
Every week after their performances, Yale Gymnastics has ECAC weekly awards. So they give out 4 different honors. There's a Gymnast of the Week, a Rookie of the Week, a Specialist of the Week, and a Coach's Choice honor. So junior Jessica Wang was honored as the Specialist of the Week after her outstanding performance on uneven bars last Saturday, and that score racked up a 9.850.
Sounds like a well-deserved honor.
Yes. We're ready on floor for your sinus. This is going to be Heather Burbaker.
She opens with a 2.5 twist, jump out of it. Got a little Beyonce attitude here. I'm loving it.
I caught a little sly smile from the judge. Like, I'm into it, but I can't show that I am.
And that was a 1.5 twist into a punch front in the pike position.
I think what really makes these floor routines is the confidence that the girls present. You don't necessarily have to be the best dancer, but if you have so much confidence and oomph in your movement,
attitude,
it comes across.
and yeah.
while the floor exercise was going on, Yale's gymnast did a beautiful head back to toe jump, and that's a blind landing, so trying to reach the beam again. I caught it out of the corner of my eye, completely split in the air.
She goes into her dismount. It was a hitch or a cat leap really into a gainer full off the side. She had a nice confidence about her on the beam. It was nice to watch.
You see Gabby Urusi there with one of our little tiger cubs. They do a handstand contest before the meets, and I think she was one of our candidates. We had 2 different levels this time.
Quite cute. Maybe a future tiger gymnast. It's an important role. Sorry to interrupt.
Absolutely, no. I was going to say the same thing.
Just that, I mean, when these girls come to college, they might not understand like what an impact they have on this community, on this area. We have a lot of very loyal supporters and fans in this area, and a lot of gymnastics clubs around here that come to these meets. And it is so important for the Towson gymnast to, establish that relationship and just be a part of the community, because the community does give back, so it's wonderful. We have Yale on beam. Flip-flop layout. Oh, good save. Straddle jump into a back tuck.
Now that to me looked like the trickiest.
Going down?
Yes.
And not falling. That was pretty impressive. There's a cat leap into a switch half jump, into a split jump, into a beat jump. 4 dance elements together.
It's funny, you forget how much the little things matter, and when they're in practice, doing the hard back tucks and the flip-flop layouts and combinations on the beam, you can walk through the dance movements, but then when you get to the competition and you have to do a full pirouette on beam, oh my gosh.
It's the worst, trust me. One and a half twist into a front layout.
Now we did see the scores go up for Towson, so they may have conferenced on the vault a score or 2, but after the first rotation, they're going to finish with a 48.1, just behind North Carolina with a 48.5. Still waiting for the other 2 teams to finish scores.
Very simple first pass, but very pretty. did a 1.5 twist. She was supposed to do probably a punch front or punch layout out of it. She did not have the momentum she needed, and luckily did a forward roll out of it as opposed to landing right on the top of her head, which I've seen some gymnasts do.
But she will get another deduction for having 2 feet out.
Yes, she did go out of bounds, correct. She finishes with a 1.5 twist into a stag jump.
And this routine was an exhibition for your sign. Brittany Ranty's going to be starting things off on the uneven bars. Still waiting in on Courtney's score, but it should be a big one.
Next up on bars for the Tigers, Brittany Ranty.
Sorry, we're still having a little technical difficulty there. Brittany did a great routine, great form, beautiful dismount with another stuck landing.
And as I said last week, Brittany Ranty is a specialist for the uneven bars, so Towson really relies on her to bring in a strong routine, and she only trains on the balance beam and the bars in practice. So worst case scenario, if she was put in the position that she needed to go up on both events, she could.
She could, yeah. And I mean, that's one of the great things about college gymnastics. You no longer have to do all 4 events. You know, you compete where you're needed most, what your strongest events are.
The Tar Heels just had a very nice bar set.
Beam
set.
It's Friday night, it's okay.
Back to the floor for Yale with their second routine. Their first score coming in with a 9-7.
Really nice high leaps and jumps there. That counts for her dance series requirement. Front layout into a front full, and she just did not have enough height on that. She did have to take a seat, and that will count as a fall. Over on bars.
We have our second freshman, Tess.
Overshoot to handstand, hits that, very nice. Giant full into a double tuck. Great job. She came off a little early on that double tuck, but she pulled it around. It was very nice.
She comes off very far.
She really does.
And I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but there's a thin mat and then a thick mat. So you're almost stepping off of that thin mat.
She almost missed the thin mat.
She stuck it. Now, would you count that on beam as being a blind landing. I think she meant to put her head all the way back.
Yeah, you know, it's sometimes it's up for, I don't know, negotiation, I guess you could say. I mean, you couldn't get me to do that jump, so I'm not gonna criticize. How about that? I had a hard enough time staying on while looking at the beam. I'm sure not gonna take my eyes off of it.
The scores are in for Courtney and Brittany. Courtney had a 9.75, and Brittany came up with a 9.65.
Good scores to start off. Just as with vault, bars is another event where we need to just upgrade a little bit. Not as much as we need to on vault, but we just need to up the difficulty level just a little bit. We have several routines that are packed full of difficulty, and we need to get that consistently throughout the entire set of 6 gymnasts that compete.
But all of our bar routines are out of 10.0.
They are out of a 10.0.
Which gives us an even better chance to score that maximum score.
We have a beautiful Shpashnikova into an overshoot from Kyla. She has some form breaks that she needs to work on. Toe hand into a beautiful stalter, one of my favorite moves on bars. Right into a double tuck dismount, slight step on the landing. Great job for the freshman.
That's a Michael Jackson.
I love it. Oh, double pike, just not enough height. Knees went down, that will count as a fall. Doesn't look like she crunched her ankles or anything, which is always my worry when you land low like that. She hopped right up with a smile on her face, so that's a good sign.
The 2 scores in for Yale for the floor exercise are 9.7 and a 9.05. So depending on what that score is, she might be able to
they're
drop
definitely
that
going to have
one.
to count a fall because they've now had 2 falls. Very nice full turn. We have Tyra on bars for the Tigers, going into her release move, which is a pike Jaeger, finishes above the bar. She can just decide when she wants to catch it, basically. Goes right into a pack salto, another just explosive release move from her.
I don't think you can understand from watching the video, but sitting here right next to the uneven bars and seeing the height that she gets on both the release move and the pack salto.
Yeah,
It's
and then her
amazing she
dismount.
catches it.
I mean, again, on that dismount, she finishes above the high bar, if you'll see here, and then kicks out. And I have to say, for being a blind landing, also a landing where you're coming back in towards a bar, something you don't want to hit, going that fast.
I would imagine not.
She is so consistent on that landing. She has just such an uncanny sense of where she is and hitting that landing. I mean, it's you don't see many girls stick that landing consistently. They might do it really nicely, but they always take a little step or a little hop. And I think she sticks it more than she takes a step, ever. Yeah. Definitely just one of the most exciting bar workers Towson's ever had, and we've had some amazing bar workers. I will put her up there in the top for sure.
Very nice jump series on floor exercise for Yale. She gets a full extension.
Front layout into a front full. Wow, finishes with a 2.5 twist. Beautiful. She's a very, very pretty gymnast to watch.
She'll be happy with that routine.
Yeah. I think she's a freshman also, so good for her. Over
Marielle.
on bars, Marielle with a beautiful Tkachev. Toe shoot to hand. Overshoot to hand. Giant full into a double tuck. Very nice. She does a real open tuck. It always makes me a little nervous, but she always manages to pull it around.
These scores for Towson are huge on the uneven bars. Tyra McKellar came in with a 9.825, and then we have 9.75s for both Tess and Kyla.
And Courtney, too. Yeah. We're very consistent with the 9.75 tonight. Let's see if Marielle can break that for us. I want to see some more 9.8s and 9.9s.
You can see on this replay, this vault's going to get a major deduction for having so many steps backwards.
Oh, yeah. Was it Yurchenko in the pike position? She had a lot of form breaks, and then as you said, the landing is going to be a major deduction. Front pull into a front pike. Back with North Carolina on the balance beam.
North Carolina's had some great scores, a 9.8, a 9.725, 9.65. So far, they'll only have to count that 9.5 if they could get rid of that score, and that would certainly be nothing to complain about.
Beautiful switch leap into a split jump. Great height on those. Full turn.
The dreaded full turn.
The dreaded full turn. That's what we're just going to call it, the dreaded full turn. And a punch front, 1.5 twist dismount. Great height. Opens up with a double pike. Front full into a front pike. front 1.5 twist. Very dramatic floor routine. It was very pretty. It's a little bit different than what we're used to seeing in college gymnastics. So I like the, little variety, a little change of pace.
Believe we are gearing up for just one more routine on the balance beam for University of North Carolina. And the Tar Heels are one of Towson's Eagle Conference opponents. This is their first road meet of the season. So, I mean, depending on that home field advantage, whether that team thinks that they have a home field advantage or not, we'll definitely see whether their scores vary this week. But as a gymnast, I'm sure you have to be able to compete anywhere, any given day, in any condition.
You sure do. You sure do. I mean, it's always nice competing at home in front of your home crowd. Back when I competed, you actually sort of did have home judges. You sort of had the same judges at every meet. And there was such discrepancy between home and away meets that NCAA gymnastics decided that judges had to start traveling more so that there was not these huge home scores and then these really low away scores.
Really makes sense.
It also made it so that some of the larger teams that kind of have a little more power would just have a lot more home meets and not as many away meets, so their scores would just always look really big. And so many, many years ago, they started where the judges have to kind of come from all over. I mean, they're not flying judges in from California, but up and down the East Coast, is what you're going to see. Oh, shoot.
She tried.
It's right before she took off, I noticed her leg shaking. I don't know if she's just not feeling confident tonight, because it looks to me like she's probably the anchor on their beam team. But I think, 5 gymnasts went before her and did pretty solid routines, so she can just, kind of chalk this one up to having a bad meet. We all have one. Sometimes it's good to get it out of the way at the beginning of the season. Oh, she might have actually been in the exhibition, so this was really just a practice for her anyway.
So the scores are in for the end of the second rotation. We have Towson with a 96.875, University of North Carolina with a 96.8, Yale with a 94.95, and your Sinus with a 94.75. For rotation 3, we will have Yale on the vault, your Sinus on the bars, Towson Tigers on the balance beam, and University of North Carolina on the floor. So be sure to tune back in.
It's probably the most difficult one for her to pick because they're just very strong on beam.
First up on floor for North Carolina, Lauren Weisel. And first up on beam for your Towson Tigers, Tyra McKellar.
Here's Tyra up first for the Tigers.
There's a flip-flop into a side summy. Very nice. Slight bobble, but she really controlled it well. Cat leap into a full turn.
She has a lot of control in everything that she does, and she makes such difficult movements almost look slow in the air.
Right.
And so controlled and graceful at the same time.
She has her own slow-mo feature. She goes into her dismount. Gainer full with a stuck landing. No better way to start off beam. And there you see her dismount again. Nice height. Great landing. See this replay on vault. Got a Yurchenko in the laid out position. Beautiful position in the air. Slight hop on the landing. Great vault for Yale to start off with.
And this is Lauren Weissel for North Carolina on the floor exercise. And so far, all of her passes have been very good.
You see her last pass here. Front with a 1.5 twist. Little low on the landing. Covered it very well. And now we have Melissa Temkoff for Towson on the balance beam. Flip-flop layout. Lands with 2 feet instead of doing a step out. Switch with a switch leap with a half turn into a split jump. And she does her full turn in a different direction. We actually call it an inward turn in gymnastics. We'll switch side leap. Need a little more extension on that. And a dismount, front full, slight hop on the landing, but another solid routine for the Tigers. Yale on vault, we have a front handspring, front flip with a stuck landing. Those are difficult to stick.
I wish she could have stayed in her pike position just a little bit longer before.
And over on the bars, we have our sinus. Going into her dismount, double tuck, very nice. Back to the floor. We've got some fancy camera work going on here. Look at us. One routine to the next. Now on beam for the Tigers, Lauren Cahalan. Split jump into a tuck jump, 3/4 turn. Shows a cat leap into a front aerial, into a back handspring. So that counts as her tumbling series on balance beam. You're required to do a tumbling series, a dance series, and then a tumbling dance series. And the dreaded full turn, also a requirement. Here she does a switch leap.
Lauren is one to find a white line on a mat somewhere to pretend it's the balance beam. As we're practicing through other rotations, she was practicing her tumbling series quite a bit.
And there's her dismount, a gainer in the pike position. Little hop on the landing. Another solid routine. Wow, Yale with a Yurchenko in the Yurchenko in the layout position with a full twist. She was really far back on the vaulting table, got a lot of distance, not a lot of height, but not a bad vault.
North Carolina's been doing great on the floor exercise, and this is considerably their strongest event. They had a 49-1 in the rotation score from last week.
Yeah.
And Michaela Robinson scored a 9-9 for her floor performance last week, which earned her the Eagle Specialist of the Week honors.
One and a half twists into a front pike.
Gabby Urusus set to go for the Tigers on the balance beam.
Switch leap into a sheep jump. Front aerial. Flip-flop layout, step out, beautiful. Dismount is a round off line-up twist with a stuck landing. I have to say, even though Gabby's been dealing with an injury and she isn't 100% yet, the confidence that she has when she does beam,
so consistent.
you just know she's going to hit. I mean, it's just, it's almost a guarantee. And Yale with a Yurchenko layout with a half twist. Yale's actually got some pretty good vaults over there, I have to say.
I think it's their assistant coach there on the mat. Jumps up every time they stick their landing, and she gets so excited, which they have so much to be proud of.
And that was a layout Yurchenko. She piked it down, so she way over rotated. Big hop on the landing. Great height off of the vaulting table, though.
Marielle's next up for the Tigers, which is a little bit interesting because usually she's the one anchoring for us.
Yeah.
So Katie McGrady has some big shoes to fill, but her scores have been so consistent from the past few meets that she's been able to rejoin the season. I'm so glad that I've been able to watch her compete.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch her at all last year.
I mean, and Marielle, to me, is arguably our best beam worker in terms of just the difficulty, the poise, the elegance. She's the whole package on beam. But again, there are so many talented beam workers on this team. You know, your spot's never guaranteed.
And that's evident in our scores. Melissa Temkoff came in with a 9.6. Tyra McKellar had a 9.675. And Lauren Cahalan posted a 9.75. So she has nothing to worry about going into this.
Flip-flop layout. Solid as always. I saw her fall on it during touch. She doesn't care.
She'll know she'll stick it in the routine.
And a side aerial into a full layout, full dismount, stuck landing.
And very happy teammates.
Yes.
North Carolina's been posting some big scores on the floor exercise. 2.98 just came up for Michaela Robinson and Lily Dean, and Lauren Weissel with a 9.7.
And understandably, they have some big tumbling, some great dance. They're having a lot of fun out there. She finishes with a front 1.5 twist.
And here's senior Katie McGrady.
And again, you know, a lot of people think being the anchor on an event is a lot of pressure, but for Towson on being the anchor is probably one of the easiest jobs of the whole meet, because you know for almost certain that the 5 routines going up in front of you are going to be so rock solid, it takes all the pressure off. She was just off right from the get-go with that one. You know, there wasn't anything she could have done to save that. Front aerial. Switch lead. Straddle quarter. Setting up for her dismount. Round off 1.5 twist. Stuck landing though. I mean, you can tell she's not happy with herself, but honestly, she has worked so hard to get back in this gym and get back in the lineup. You know, to come out and do what she's doing after the time off she's had, really, she should be very proud of herself. It was one slip, and I guarantee you it's not going to happen again. You can tell by the look on her face.
It was a nice save from her sinus on bar. She almost came over in that handstand.
That was really good. Went back to a double twist. Front 1.5 twist.
The Tar Heels saw improvements in 13 individual scores last week, which is huge for any team. 3 event total scores and their overall final score all improved from the week before. And like we said before, the floor exercise is known to be their best event. Catching you up with some bar scores from your sinus, we have a 9.3 from Kelsey Stort, Lindsay Rush with a 9.275, Abigail Short with a 9.225, and then Sabrina Tusevitz with an 8.175. So hopefully that is the score that they will end up dropping.
Next on bars for silence, Amanda Palladino.
You see Amanda do an uprising handstand. She does it beautifully. Right into a Takacha. Not a lot of height on that. Made me a little nervous, but I saw her kind of warming it up that way also. She does a giant on the low bar. We're breaking out some old school tricks here.
Yes, this is a very interesting routine. And she was the senior who scored the single highest score of the meet for the Bears last week.
Nice dismount. It's a unique routine. She has some skills in there that are kind of from back in my day, and they're hard. They're difficult skills. It's nice to see. Great height on that dismount.
And the confidence and energy continues on the floor.
Beautiful jump. She had beautiful jumps on beam also. Just great extension. Nice height. Double tuck. Just was a little low on the landing. Did a minor deduction. She's walking off a little, I don't know, looked a little disappointed. I didn't see the beginning of the routine. I'm not sure if something happened. Or maybe it was just that landing there.
And just catching you up with some Towson scores on the beam. Marielle Arduino had a 9.85. Gabby Urusi with a 9.825. And Katie McGrady, unfortunately, had a 9.05, so that will be the score that we get to drop. But overall, great on the balance beam.
Great beam. I don't know if this is their strongest beam event of the season, but, I mean, they put up 5 beautiful routines. You can't ask for more than that. Oh. So when you take a fall on bars, you do have 30 seconds to get back on. You're allowed to go over and chalk. You can talk to your coach. Some gymnasts decide to repeat the skills. Some just kind of continue on from where the routine would have kept going. So her overshoot to handstand.
Caught herself there and was able to rotate again.
Setting up for a dismount, double tuck. Very nice. Oh, and North Carolina on floor, fell on the first tumbling pass. Just under-rotated, put her hands down. I actually saw her do that in the touch as well. The layout half to a front layout. With a double tuck, again, hands down, low landing.
Thankfully, this is their exhibition.
Okay.
So again, this score won't count.
Well, darn, because that would have helped Towson. I'm glad she's getting up and walking off, because she did take 2 falls where she landed low. You always have to be concerned about ankles. I call it crunching. It's not a fun feeling, trust me.
Wonderful for her to get the experience of performing in an arena that's not your own doing a routine
Definitely.
that you've worked very hard on to see whether it's ready or not to compete on the road. All right, the Towson girls are getting ready to throw out some T-shirts. We have lots of scores over 9-7 or above, or stuck landings. We're still waiting on a few scores, but as of now, University of North Carolina is going to take over first place with a 145.7, and Towson coming in second with a 145.575. Yale finishing with a 143.35, and your Sinus with a 141.475. And just a reminder, those scores will change on the bottom of your screen, so you can keep updated as we go into the fourth rotation. North Carolina will be on the vault. Yale will be on the bars, your Sinus will be on the beam, and your Towson Tigers will take on the floor exercise. University of North Carolina in the lead by only a little bit, and they're going up on vault, which isn't their strength. But from practice rounds, we did see a lot of great vaults. Where do you think Towson's chances right here?
I mean, we're basically neck and neck. So this is still between Towson and North Carolina. It's still anybody's meet. Towson really needs to hit, though. We can't afford even one little mistake, because I don't think North Carolina is going to give up a 10th over there on vault just from watching them warm up. So, you know, Towson just really has to be on their game. But this isn't just such a strong event for them. We saw them do it in the first home meet. They can do it again.
And that first vault for North Carolina proved us right. Only that little small hop back on the landing.
Beautiful Yurchenko full. They're going to put up a lot more difficult vaults than Towson did, so that's were the challenges.
Courtney Baker's up first for the Tigers. And I like her in this leadoff position. I think she does a great job starting things off and getting the team rolling.
Yeah. Front to a double tuck. A little low on the landing. That's unusual for her. And those are kind of the little deductions I'm talking about that, you know, that opens the door for North Carolina to maintain their lead. Very nice dance series. As we've mentioned before with Courtney, she has one just most beautiful toe point, great, beautiful legs. Just her form is so just elegant. She's very elegant.
But still powerful.
Very powerful too.
Which amazes me that you can be both.
She finished with a double pike. Much better landing on that than the first pass. So it's a great lead-off routine that should score fairly well. You see she gets beautiful height in the air, beautiful position.
And assistant coach Jay Ramirez with a whistle. So he must approve.
And while she was going, North Carolina had another beautiful vault. Yurchenko layout with a half twist, and it was so stuck, it was overstuck. I don't even know how she stuck it that well.
Our third gymnast up for North Carolina.
All right, and she did a similar vault to what Tyra does. So she does a Yurchenko entry with a full twist on, and instead of doing a tuck off like Tyra did, she did it in a pike. And that should, again, score really well.
Marielle Arduino's up next for the Tigers on floor.
She opens with a double tuck. Front layout to a front half, to a double stag jump.
She looked a little low on that landing at first, and then she used all of that
exploded
momentum
right out of it,
into
yeah.
the jump.
There's a 1.5 twist into a front layout.
That was a very good routine
Very
for
good
Marielle.
routine, very clean, beautiful. She's a beautiful dancer.
But meanwhile, we had yet another stick for the
Oh
Tar
my gosh,
Heels.
and it was sky high. I mean, they are really vaulting well over there. That's the nicest way I can say it.
It's going to be neck and neck.
Going for a big dismount, double layout.
Started tucking her legs forward just a little bit.
A little bit.
She could have extended those hips a little bit more. But she did that one release move, the Ginger, which your sinus fell on earlier. And Lauren Cahalan's next for the Tigers. And she is very good at getting the crowd entertained. I don't know whether it's the music or her or both. It's probably both.
Front with a double twist, layout form. Layout half into a front layout. There's a front 1.5 twist for her last pass. I mean, she's just beautiful to watch. She's a beautiful dancer, great tumbler. And as you said, she really gets the crowd drawn in. Here's a replay, North Carolina. Yurchenko full in the laid out position, and I mean, maybe there's a slight deduction on the landing. That'd really be being picky. I will say the gymnast before her did fall on vault, but I don't think they're going to have to count that score, so it doesn't really matter. She did a very difficult vault. She actually did a 1.5 twist, Yurchenko, in the tucked position, and just was under rotated and sat it down, but they're doing some very difficult vaults down there in North Carolina. All right, so she did a one-armed front walkover, handspring. And it looks like it was supposed to connect to something, so she's going to try again.
There we go.
Into a back pike.
Up next on floor for the Tigers, Melissa Timcall.
The Tigers have Melissa Temkoff on floor, and she's yet another one known to put up really big scores on this event.
She's very intense, very powerful.
Determined.
Determined. That's a great description for her. Opens with a beautiful double pike. Front layout into a front full. Finishes with a double tuck. Beautiful. Great routine.
I love all of her dramatic movements. They really
I know.
add to the type of gymnast that Melissa is.
Right. I mean, the music and the choreography fits her personality perfectly. Not every gymnast has to be cute and bubbly or beautiful and elegant. Sometimes they can just be raw and dramatic and powerful, and that's exactly what she is.
And last year when she was on the uneven bars, she did bring that grace and beauty into the elegance of the uneven bars, but still maintaining that power. So I hope that we can see her on bars again. I believe she competed at bars last week in West Virginia, but hopefully she can get back into that all-around lineup because she was great last year as an all-arounder as a freshman.
Setting up for dismount. Oh, full in, back out. Beautiful. I have to say, Yale has been very impressive with their difficulty on bars.
Wang qualified for the bars and balance beam and event finals at USA Gymnastic Collegiate Nationals. And she earned the top qualifying spot on balance beam, but that bars routine seemed very worthy to me.
Yes, I see why now. She qualified. Katie opens up with a double pike. You know, I have to say I was a little worried she was going to over-rotate that. She was really pulling it hard, but she managed to stop herself.
Make sure you stay in those lines.
That's right.
Whatever it takes.
Double tuck for a second pass. I feel like she's trying to make up for balance beam a little bit because she is like going hard here tonight, and I love it. Last pass is a 1.5 into a front layout. She had some form deductions there. Great routine. I think she's redeemed herself from balance beam. So 1.5. You can see in the front layout there, she just had, her knees were a little bit bent. From where the judges were sitting, they might not have been able to see it as clearly. And we have our sinus on beam. Switch leap into a straddle quarter. Needs more extension. Toes needed to be pointed. And a gainer full off the side.
It's Tyra's turn. Let's see what she can bring to the floor. We're still waiting on some individual scores on our live stats here. But we will update you with them as soon as we can.
So she opens with a 1.5 twist into a front layout. Goes into her double tuck. A little hop on the landing there.
She gets so much height. Coach May is standing.
Such a problem when you have too much power.
Coach May is standing right behind her, and you can completely see Coach May and still some room between her head and Tyra's feet.
last pass. Another 1.5 twist into a front full. Wow. Another great meet for Tyra.
She knew she had a job to do, and she took care of it.
And I think that will do it for the Tigers on floor. We still have Ursinus on balance beam. Switch leap into a back handspring with one arm. Front aerial. Oh, she slipped but managed to save it into another back handspring with one arm.
Now, completing these skills with one arm instead of none, I'm sure that's reassurance that she has some support on the beam when performing the skills, but do you think there could ever be a competition where she felt really confident and could do it without one arm, or is that something you practice?
No, she's practicing it with one arm. You know, it is a skill. You know, again, it's actually, I think if she was the same girl I watched on bars, it's very old school. I feel like she's like back from the past a little bit, from the 80s. We did a lot of one-arm stuff back then. So I'm not really sure it has any more of a difficulty level or not, but it's just unique. It's nice to throw in something different that you don't really see that often, if at all. So it just makes you stand out a little bit.
Well, the Tigers are finished their competition for the day, and they're putting their Team Up for One t-shirts back on to support that great cause that we have a partnership with. We will get scores as soon as we can, and again, they will be down below on your screen. Looks like North Carolina is going to be coming in first with a 194.6, but Towson's really not that far behind with a 194.275. And when you get into those nitty-gritty little tenths,
yeah,
they all matter.
They do.
But
and, you know, in a meet like this against a team like North Carolina, all those little tenths matter. The little steps, the little bobbles, you know, not quite executing something as cleanly as you should. Both teams, North Carolina and Towson, really put on a show tonight. So, I mean, you can't fault Towson at all. They did a great job. Again, I know I've probably said this to the point where people are sick of hearing of it. It comes down to the difficulty level on vault. We don't have enough difficult vaults. We can only score so much on vault. We saw North Carolina tonight putting out 6 incredibly difficult vaults, and you just can't compete against that.
We have one last routine for Ursinus on the balance beam.
Oh, flip-flop layout. You know, a little bit off, couldn't save it. Back foot didn't even make it to the beam, unfortunately. Switch leap into a straddle jump with a quarter twist. Very nice. Oh, and another fall. And a gainer pike off the end of the beam. I'm sure she wasn't happy with that routine, but her teammates are there to cheer on, pick her up.
Looks like she got just a little too low to the beam after that front tuck.
Yeah, just didn't have enough rotation to be able to land it. It looks like we might have another beam routine here.
Yes, I stand corrected.
Might be an exhibition, maybe?
Yes, that will be Alexandra per year.
Up next on beam for sinus, performing an exhibition, Alexandra per year.
Very nice. Split jump into a split jump with a full twist. You know, there is one thing I would love to say about Ursinus. They are a Division III school. They didn't come in here thinking, oh, we're going to win. These girls are not on scholarship. You know, they are doing this because they love the sport. And there's something to be said for that. You know, they don't get paid to do this. They have to still do their schoolwork on top of all of the time that they put in the gym. And during warm-ups, after routines and stuff, they have the best attitude. They are here having so much fun. And I love that because it really should be all about fun.
And what a cool experience to compete against teams like Towson and University of North Carolina.
You know, we're both watching them during warm-ups, and they had finished warming up, I think, floor, and they were all just dancing. The music was playing, and they were just dancing and having a great time, and I love that. I love to see that. There are so many things in this world going on that are so much bigger than college and gymnastics and stuff, and sometimes you just have to put things in perspective and step back and just have fun. And some of these, you know, the Division II, Division III, even Ivy League schools, you know, these girls are doing it purely for the love of the sport. They have no other really motivation other than that they just love gymnastics.
All right, so the final scores are in. Towson did come in second place with a 194.275, but not without a good fight. University of North Carolina came in first with a 194.6. Yale's in second with a 192.05. Ursinus is finishing with a 187.425. We'll have all of the individual awards and results for the all-around and finalize team scores right after the break, so please stay tuned. awards ceremony for our second home meet. North Carolina came out victorious in the number 1 spot with a total of a 194.6. Towson came in second with a 194.275. Yale in third with a 192.05. And Ursinus finishing fourth with a 187.425. So the results were to be expected, but Towson gave such a great performance up against such big competition.
Yes, I mean, North Carolina, as I said, was going to be a tough competition. Towson did really well against them. You know, again, I sound like I'm beating a dead horse. It just comes down to those vaults. We need more difficult vaults so we can get a higher total vault team score. And Towson's right in the thick of it. You know, North Carolina is in our conference. They're one of the tougher competitors. And Towson's just not that far behind.
Bars was actually our best event today with a 48.775, which is almost 0.4 improved from last week. Beam and floor came out even with 48.7 on both. For the all-around, Tyra McKellar came in second place, and Marielle Arduino was in third. And each of those girls won an individual title. So Tyra was the winner on the uneven bars, and Marielle was the winner on beam.
Right. Yeah. And again, you know, beam is their strongest event. We're very good on bars, especially with Tyra. She is such a dynamic bar worker. And floor, I mean, we're just solid on floor all the way around. So overall, it was a good meet. Is there room for improvement? Sure. On each event, there were little tents here and there that the girls just need to tighten up, you know, point some toes, put some legs together, straighten their legs, stick some landings, you know, but for where we are in the season, I think they are building their momentum, and they're right on track to probably go into a really strong season.
Absolutely, and we look forward to seeing those improvements next weekend when the Tigers head to Pittsburgh for the Pit Quad meet against Temple, North Carolina State, and Pittsburgh. That meet is on February 3rd at 2 p.m., so be sure to check in with Towson Tigers for updates on that meet. And then our next home meet will be on February 18th, and we're taking on Southern Connecticut State University and Gustavus Adolphus, and that will be our 50th anniversary celebration, which I'm sure you're looking forward to.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, it's amazing to think that Towson Gymnastics has been here for 50 years, especially with gymnastics programs across the nation. They get cut every year. So it's a real testament to this program that they have lasted this long, has been as successful as they have been. And we have a lot of alumni coming back for this meet to celebrate, so it's very exciting.
For Tandy Night, I'm Amy Phillips. Thank you for watching the Towson Sports